Well, good morning to you. Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis. Great to have you here with us on this Thursday morning, July the 9th of 2020. Yes, we're still in a quarantine mode. We're delivering our program to you virtually from across the nation today. We've got some special guests. We're going to get to them in just a moment. But first, I want to introduce Brittany Pacheco, who joins us from her home. Good morning, Brittany.
Good morning, Todd, and good morning to everyone joining us on Facebook Live, eventually YouTube as well, because we do post this live broadcast on our YouTube channel, which I'll include that plugin here and now. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we have thousands of videos at your disposal, all produced by our very own HCCTV. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can be the first to find out the latest upload from us. Also, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And last but not least, share this podcast so that we can grow our audience, but share all the vital information that we have from HCC to the masses.
You know, Brittany, yesterday, one of the main points and questions our student had involved our international students, and our chancellor released a statement late in the day yesterday. Later, when we come back to you, I want to get into that statement so we can discuss a bit, at least what he announced, which should put some fears to rest, at least at this point. So we're going to get to that later in the show. We know there are lots of questions about it, and we're certainly going to try to provide you with some answers as we know them right now. As we mentioned, we've got guests from across the nation right now. Before we get to our HCC guest, I want to introduce Allison Wickens, the Vice President for Education from Mount Vernon. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Todd and Brittany, for having me today.
We appreciate you being here, and we're looking forward to discussing things with you in just a moment. We'll be right back with you. But first, we want to start with Susan Stangl Thompson, and Susan is the Program Director for STEM Engineering and STEM Initiatives, and also working with the HCC U of H Engineering Academy. Susan, we've been talking about this, it seems like, for the past few months. This is about to become a reality because your first class is going to start in the fall.
Yes, we are very excited about this new partnership. We've been working on this for quite a few years. This is a program that Dr. Hodges has really been working throughout the community and with the University of Houston to get it implemented with the MOU. We've been developing the processes and the marketing, and the applications are flowing in. In fact, our due date is July the 17th, which is next week. So we encourage students to apply as soon as possible.
Now, I know for folks who may not know this, but HCC has a number of engineering academies with many universities, and the benefit with going to an HCC with a partner university and taking going out for your engineering degree, realistically, I mean, you're talking about saving tens of thousands of dollars in the long run. And this U of H partnership is just another feather in our cap for as we move forward with providing a quality education to our students. Tell our viewers some of the benefits for enrolling in this academy.
It's huge. It's just amazing because, well, number one, the first 2 years of an engineering degree are really the most difficult, as in it's a lot of the calculus, chemistry, physics, a lot of the basics. And so what we do is provide cohort classes. So the students are co-enrolled with their fellow Engineering Academy students in these specific courses, calculus, chemistry, and the engineering courses. The engineering courses are offered through the University of Houston Cullen College of Engineering. So you are U of H engineering cougars from the very first day. So it's awesome. But then the cost is another huge benefit. We guesstimate, pending kind of looking at the basic information, tuition and fees, for the first 2 years of an academy, if you're an in-district student, it's about $13,000. If you're going to the University of Houston as a full-time student on campus, if you're actually living on campus, it's about $40,000. So there's a huge amount of savings. If you're going and just living at home, then it's about $28,000. So there's some great opportunities for our students.
And I don't think people understand, or I know you mentioned it, but you're actually co-enrolled for your college career. Tell us about the transition, how students make to the U of H campus when they're finished with the classes with HCC.
Right, that's a great point. Actually, we kind of have two different situations. We have several different degrees that the students will in the academy transition to the U of H main campus. That's mechanical, electrical, civil, industrial, and computer engineering. And so they are accepted because they are U of H students from the very first day. They are transitioned in. They are working with our HCC academic advisors as well as U of H academic advisors from the very first day. So there's a lot of discussion, and so it's an easy process to transition. And they have a group of students that they know from the very first day that once they transition on, that they'll be able to continue to network and develop with. Have another process, another program. U of H has approved 3 new engineering academy engineering degrees at Katy, and that's systems engineering, computer engineering and analytics, and construction engineering. And those 3 degrees, you can start in Katy, finish in Katy.
And you mentioned some disciplines there that really fell under the essential jobs as we went into the shutdown. You know, civil engineering, computer engineering, construction engineering, all those are jobs that were needed when other people were having to stay home and work or possibly, unfortunately, lost their jobs. These were jobs that were flourishing, especially with construction in the city of Houston.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's a discussion about bringing in companies. We've already had several contacted us to say they want to be a part of the academy to help provide internships, mentoring, and helping work with the students throughout the academy experience. So we're very excited, especially connecting into the Katy community and you know, the energy corridor and all of Houston.
And I don't think people understand what a crisis we're heading into this country as baby boomers are aging and a number of engineers are going to be retiring over the next 10 years. And we aren't producing enough engineers. I say we as a college body, not just HCC, but universities and colleges and aren't producing enough engineers to fill those gaps.
Absolutely. Yes. We estimate there's about 97,000 engineers in the Houston area. And within the next 10 years, we're going to need about 70,000 new engineering positions. And a lot of that's technology change, automation, and that's medical, that's aerospace, that's the tech industry. That's a lot of different, not just the energy industry, but we know that we're going to need to be able to have to hire more. And you're right, we're not able, even as a country, to graduate enough engineers to meet that demand.
I know you've been working long and hard for quite some time on this process, but what has it been like working with the University of Houston? That's my alma mater there, so it's always a shout out to U of H, go Cougs. But what's it been like working with U of H in this process?
They have been incredible, just a wonderful partner. We worked with Dr. Rao, J.R. Rao, who is the Associate Dean for the Cullen College of Engineering, and he is the lead for the Katy campus. And then Leslie Sisk is my counterpart at the University of Houston, and she and her team are just incredible. And then also we have some wonderful people from HCC that have helped us make this successful. Omar Bashir is our academic advisor, Jeff Andre, and then Jeff Andre is our advising manager, and then Dean Vaselli has just been very supportive, and Dr. Hodges, of course. So
absolutely, we can't forget Dr. Hodges. Congratulations to him because he's celebrating 25 years as a president out there. So want to give him a shout out as well. Tell us about the new Katy campus because that's on the horizon and that's coming up pretty quickly in, I believe, the spring of 2022.
Yes, yes. And what's really exciting about this, it's going to be amazing and give us an opportunity to really enhance our spaces, our labs. We're developing a new space out there as well. So it'll be wonderful. And not only that, but it's going to be right across the street from the new U of H Katy campus or U of H Katy. And so the students that are in the academy can just walk right across the street. So it's a perfect opportunity. And it's at 99 and I-10. And it's just close and in a perfect location.
And once again, the deadline is coming up next week. Who can apply for this? If I'm a parent and I've got a kid who's graduated and I'm like, boy, this sounds kind of interesting. They're not sure what they want to do yet, you know, as many college students are, you know, get into college, not quite sure what they want to do. Can they apply for this? How does that work?
Absolutely, yes. We would encourage everyone to apply. We've had a lot of questions, and really once we see transcripts and ACT and SAT scores, that helps determine. But ideally, it's set up for a first-time in college student right out of high school, or even an HCC student can apply for this. So what we encourage students to do is to update their information, upload it when they apply. And then we'll be able to see, but they need to be able to fit into the engineering courses that are offered through U of H and the HCC cohort classes like pre-calculus, calculus, and chemistry.
Susan Stangl Thompson, thanks for being here on the show and updating us. I know we've been talking about this for a while, but once again, folks, the application deadline is next week. Those applications are due by Friday, July 17th, and you can visit hccs.edu/engineering-UH. And we'll also have that link in our social media post for this show. Thanks for being here, Susan. Good seeing you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
We will. And we're going to move across the country now. And we're back with Allison Wickens. And Allison, you're not at Mount Vernon right now, but where do you live in relation to Mount Vernon?
So I live in Washington, D.C. So we're just about 20 miles outside of the D.C. city proper, George Washington's Mount Vernon is.
Wow, that's, I'm a history buff myself. I always say this on the show, and I'm fascinated with history and specifically American history around the Revolutionary War. But tell me about what's going on at Mount Vernon right now. I know that all the museums went online, really giving everyone a glimpse behind the curtains, things they normally wouldn't see. But have you reopened yet?
Yes, so I'm excited to announce that we reopened to the public 3 weeks ago, and it was a wonderful day for us. We started with a member welcome back program, and then opened to the general public the weekend of the 21st, and it's been an amazing experience. We are so thankful that our visitors are coming, and the visitors are so happy that we're open. So walking around the estate right now and being reopened is wonderful. And specifically, I think for people to dive into history again and to do it in an outdoor space, since we have large amounts of grounds for people to explore and a pioneer farm for them to learn about the 18th century. So it's been a really fun way to welcome people out of their homes.
You talked about the open space, but tell us a bit about the venue itself and the life of the Washingtons who live there.
Yes, so the Mount Vernon itself is culminated or sort of focused around the mansion house that is, a signature building not only at our site but in American history. The House of Mount Vernon is a symbolic representation of George Washington and his achievements in so many ways. So we actually just yesterday opened the house again for visitors, and small groups of 10 people can come through. So that's very exciting for us, and it was preserved sort of at the point that that he passed away in 1799. So when you visit it now, you see the house as it looked in 1799.
And tell us, you have something called a digital encyclopedia that's available for people. And people can not only learn about George Washington, but also about the people who lived on his estate, including the slaves. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. So our digital encyclopedia was designed specifically so that people could learn more about George Washington. We know that Washington is a man who lived in the 18th century, and the best way to know him is to understand the world that he lived in. And so you can look up American Revolutionary battles. You can look up the politicians that were in his cabinet. But importantly to what you just mentioned, Todd, you can look at the biographies of the enslaved people at Mount Vernon, who are as much a part of his life as some of these more familiar names that we have, like Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson. So too were Dahl and Christopher Shields and these enslaved people at his house.
You know, Allison, over the past month or so, this nation has been having many tough conversations about the legacy of slavery and racism in America. And Mount Vernon, from what I understand, from what you've told us, supports those conversations. And in fact, the fact that slavery existed at Mount Vernon. Tell us a bit more about that itself.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think when we all, we all appreciate history and we love history, the stories that it tells us about our nation. And it's important that we're talking about the stories that we celebrate and also the stories that are hard for us to talk about. And I think it's really amazing that at Mount Vernon in the 19th century that the Mount Vernon Ladies Association, the people that ran that organization was first formed, saved all of the buildings that the enslaved people occupied and worked in. So in addition to that mansion house that I mentioned, we also have amazing material evidence of enslaved people. So in terms of our role and our responsibility as a historic site, it's to be able to make sure we can have slavery be visible to people to today, so they can understand the importance and the role and the brutality of slavery, as well as the communities of enslaved families, and the relationship between enslaved people and people like George Washington.
Tell us about a campaign you have going on called Be Washington.
Yeah, so of course, Washington is remembered because he led the American Revolution. He was our first president. And there are many decisions that Washington made that we still feel the repercussions of today. And one of the things that we want to help students, but also families, communities understand is that Washington made those decisions under tough situations. And in our interactive game, Be Washington, the players get a chance to make the decisions that Washington had to make. And in order to make those decisions, they have to learn the situation. But my favorite part of the game is they have to actually listen to advisors. And those advisors are going to tell them very different things. George Washington heard very different arguments from people like Hamilton and Jefferson in his cabinet arguing about things. And he had to then make the decision that would move our country forward. And so the kids, the families that are playing this, they have to make those decisions. And then they learn whether or not they made the same decision as Washington in the end.
When you look back at some of the decisions that were made by the men and the soldiers during that time and everyone living at that time, it's quite amazing and remarkable, the legacy they've been able to establish with us, helping us establish this nation as it is today. When you think about that, it's just mind-blowing in many ways.
Yes, definitely. I mean, one of the scenarios in the Be Washington game is about the Whiskey Rebellion, and some more studious students and teachers may remember that this is when people in Pennsylvania were rebelling against taxes, and they didn't want to pay taxes, and Washington had to make the decision about whether or not to actually march an army into Pennsylvania and put down that revolt. I won't tell you what he decided because then you can turn the play. But what I will say, exactly, what I will say is that it's so interesting to see in the 18th century, George Washington figuring out the tensions between state governments and national governments and trying to delineate where the power of the nation stood versus the power of the state. And we look at our world today, we are still having that conversation. What is the nation's responsibility? What is the state's responsibility? And so when you look at the history and you look at the 18th century, you get to see the very origins of these conversations. Because before George Washington, before the creation of this democracy, nobody had those conversations because the world was filled with monarchies where there was a single king or queen making those decisions. And it was only after the invention of our government where we even had the opportunity to say, who's got the power to make this decision? So very relevant to today.
Absolutely. Where can people go on your website to take a look at some of these activities, specifically parents with kids at home? Because we may a number of parents may not be traveling this summer, and then some of them going into the fall may have kids in front of the computer again doing their schoolwork. Where can they go to look at some of these activities that you're offering online for free now?
If it's fine with you, I'll go ahead and share my screen. And this page right here, we've developed just online activities for kids. This is www.mountvernon.org/activities. And we published this page specifically in March, knowing that there would be parents and kids cooped up together at home. And it's a great place to just find a lot of resources that might be fun for families to do together. And I wanted to highlight this section here on crafts and projects. So if there's anything that you want to do to make the 18th century come alive, we've got making berry ink, making invisible ink, some gingerbread, tricorn. All of these are 18th century recipes, but things that you can do with the materials and the resources you have right in your homes already. And I wanted to highlight too, specifically, some of the tools and the secret ink around our Spy Master activities, because there's nothing like when you're cooped up, you might want to be sending secret messages to some members of your family, but not to others. And of course, George Washington's history as the head of the Culper spy ring is well documented and really a pivotal part of the American Revolution. So it's great when you can do fun activities, but then they also tie to real history.
The making the invisible ink, I remember that when I was a kid, and the gingerbread, I remember that very well. When I was a kid, I used to go up to Williamsburg quite often, and it seemed like those gingerbreads just are things of legend nowadays. Let me ask you this though, being a video guy myself, you guys have a pretty robust YouTube channel as well.
We do, and all of our videos are available on our website, but also on our YouTube channel, our Vimeo channel. And one thing that happened when we closed down, I'm just trying to get to the tab there.
There we go.
When we closed down to the public, we immediately launched a daily noon Facebook Live, and that we were able to stream, again, like you guys, Facebook and YouTube. And it allowed us to invite people in, see the world that it wasn't always there, that they didn't have access to. So in addition to the videos I'm showing on this screen, we have a lot of videos that have popped up since we closed, dozens of them, in fact. I wanted to feature this because I know parents sometimes get questions from students, or from their kids. Kids are good at asking questions, and sometimes it's hard to answer them. So we have created this YouTube channel specifically with parents and kids in mind, where kids have asked us questions they have about George Washington. And some of them are like, did he use a shower?
Right.
And, sort of, fun, questions. And others are more serious. Why didn't Washington abolish slavery? And some are more about, did Washington eat? So I think we framed this video series in particular to help parents and students.
Well, Allison, we appreciate you being on the show today and giving us just a tiny glimpse inside Mount Vernon. And, I encourage our viewers and to get their students online to check out what you guys have to offer out there. We appreciate you being here, and we look forward to maybe having you again sometime.
Oh, I'd always be happy to visit Houston, but virtually as well as digitally.
Allison Wickens, thanks for being here. Mount Vernon, the website, once again, where they can visit. What's the website address?
www.mountvernon.org, and that's all spelled out MOUNTVERNON.
Thank you, Allison, for being here today.
All right, thank you.
And once again, we're going to go back to Brittany. Brittany, you're a bit of a history buff, but you've never been to Mount Vernon, have you?
No, I haven't been to Mount Vernon. The only place in the East Coast that I've been to is DC and Arlington, Virginia for the National Cemetery. But I've been wanting to visit the East Coast just to really take in all of America's history, go to Philadelphia, go to Mount Vernon, go to other parts of the country, part of the 13 original colonies. So I'm really so immersed in it. I was just telling you before the show started that I watched Hamilton last night, and I'm obsessed. Like, I'm so obsessed with the music, with the performance. But now I'm going down this rabbit hole about Alexander Hamilton and Jefferson and, everything. So.
Well, I'm glad that Hamilton is bringing American history into the forefront, and people will get a chance to maybe read up some more on the people who helped create this country. So anyway, we want to move on. That was Family Fun Thursdays. If you're looking for virtual family fun, you can join us here every Thursday, and we'll highlight national museums and even ones here in Houston. But we've got some events and announcements. But one thing I want to discuss, Brittany, is there were some questions yesterday regarding the international students and the announcement that was made by ICE, and our chancellor had released something yesterday in reaction to that.
That's correct, Todd. So at this time, we know students specifically our international students and those who are hosting international students have a lot of questions about what's going to happen with HCC and, students' education. So the chancellor did release an email saying that the international office here at HCC is still reviewing policies to make sure that what we have in place in regards to fall 2020 with our Flex Campus and our lab-based courses are hopefully going to comply with the regulations that ICE has put out. At this time, again, those policies are being reviewed. Now, if international students and hosts have questions, you can certainly reach out to the international office by their email. You can go to our website at hccs.edu/international to find their contact information, to get information from them directly. But our international office will be contacting their students, and it's going to take some time, everyone. I know everyone's antsy because the decision needs to be made about, do you transfer or are you having to go back home? We obviously want you to continue your education here with us at HCC. But again, if you do have any questions about what's going on, please reach out to our international office.
There are some other events and announcements, Brittany. Of course, testing for COVID is going on across Harris County and the city, and HCC has opened up COVID testing site, at least one of them at HCC Southeast. No appointments required. It happens, starts at 9 a.m. So they started a little over an hour ago. They go till 4 p.m., and that's at 6815 Rustic. It's happening through tomorrow. So no appointment needed for that one. Also, if you're looking for money to pay for school, well, the HCC Foundation scholarship deadline is approaching.
That's correct, Todd. So if you are in need of tuition assistance, the Foundation scholarship application for 2021 is still open. You have until August 31st. I'm going to reiterate that, August 31st, Todd.
Not the 34th?
Not 34th.
All right.
You have until August 31st to apply. Head over to hccsfoundation.org/scholarships in order to apply. Again, August 31st is the deadline. Don't miss out.
At the start of every semester, we have a convocation, and this fall semester, we're having a convocation as well. It's going to be Friday, August the 21st. That's next month on a Friday. And the title of the convocation, or the theme, is We're All Connected. It's a virtual convocation this year, something different. We haven't done something like this in the past. We've streamed them online, but we haven't done one fully virtual. But we're working on that right now, and that will be presented to you Friday, the August 21st. For more details, we'll follow at hccs.edu. But registration next Monday through Friday, let's see, July 13th. I believe it's through August 17th. Is that correct?
I believe so, Todd. Yes. So it's a Monday to Monday situation. So Monday, July 13th is the opening date, and the closing date is Monday, August 17th.
Okay, so there you go. Rec Sports, you seem to like this one, a gamer tournament. Have you ever played Madden 20?
No, I'm not a sports gamer person type. No.
Well, we won't draft you to play for HCCTV, I guess, in this tournament.
All right.
Deadline to register is tomorrow, but it's happening Tuesday through Saturday, July 14th through 18th. You can email sports@hccs.edu. In the subject line, put Madden 20 tournament. That is going to happen next week, so you can sign up for it right now. Virtual fitness classes, those are going on as well, right?
That's correct, Todd. So this is only happening Tuesdays and Thursdays. So you're in luck, everyone, Todd. If you want to get your virtual fitness going, this is open to our HCC family who have HCCS emails. So you can register by emailing christian.andrews@hccs.edu with the subject line Virtual Fitness Summer 2020.
HCC has a job initiative. It's called jobsnowhouston.org. We've launched a program to retrain and retool Houston's workforce to fill 200,000 of the 1.5 million jobs lost since this COVID crisis started. And these are jobs that are available through several disciplines, Brittany, several different types of careers, including, I believe, 5 of them.
And those 5 are healthcare, logistics, manufacturing, IT, and construction. But there are other opportunities available in different fields. So if you're interested in the fast track training so that you can get your foot into a new career, be sure to head over to jobsnowhouston.org for more information.
So tomorrow's Friday. We made it through another week of this lockdown. What are we in, week 82? Week 82 right now?
Pretty much. I mean, it's
like it, huh?
It feels like it, yeah.
We've got some special guests on the show tomorrow. Sean Atmishi, the Dean of the IT CEO, or COE, not CEO, but COE, Center of Excellence. Sean Atmishi is going to be here tomorrow. They've got a new VR platform. I don't know if you've seen what they've been posting on Facebook, Brittany, but it's pretty cool. You're actually in a room, which kind of looks like the auditorium at the West Loop campus, and you are there with a number of people and you're in a virtual meeting. So it's really cool. He's going to talk about some of that and some other announcements he has, and the return of your favorite partner, Frank Cooper. He's back on the show tomorrow.
Oh, the man, the legend, Frank Cooper. I love the guy.
If we could get him to play the Madden 20.
I'm pretty sure he'd be down for that.
Okay.
Because I think,
all right. Let's talk to him about that tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So Frank Cooper returns tomorrow as well. And of course, we will be here with your HCC news and announcements. I'm Todd Duplantis. Thanks for being here on Up to the Minute. Thank you, Brittany.
Thanks, Todd. Have a great day, everyone. Don't forget to like us on all of our social media pages, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.